Hello, Bennett.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
You too, Eddie.
Everything okay?
All good. Well, my parents, they used to sing on clubs in the UK and used to sing abroad as well. And I can remember at an early age watching them perform, and quite often, especially in the 80s, you would have on stage a Hammond organ and a drum kit, and all the music would come from those two instruments. And I'd watch, fascinated. And luckily, my parents introduced me to a great keyboard player who I owe a lot of what I do to, and he's a chap called Joel White. And he used to play the Hammond organ. I used to watch him play. Fell in love with the sound, because I played piano as well, but there's just something magical about the sound of the Hammond organ. He showed me a few jazz and blues licks, and eventually I got to around 17 years old, and I thought, okay, I'm using keyboards that aren't real Hammonds. I need something that's close to the real thing, and I looked in some newspaper adverts for second-hand Hammond organs, and found the old X-5. So I purchased that. It was a bit, a little bit broken in places, but I had my own band at the time that played acid jazz, that kind of stuff. And we played a few gigs around where I grew up in Sheffield, in England. So we'd take the X-5 and an old Leslie cabinet, somehow just managed to fit it in the back of my friend's car.
Whoa.
And we used to go and do gigs and play some funky acid jazz stuff. I started to play more jazz when I moved to a city called Leeds in England, and I did a degree in jazz studies there, and concentrated a bit more on piano, really, but still had the Hammond organ in the kitchen of the student house that I lived in. Unfortunately, I had to sell the X5 because through studying I became a little bit poor, and the XK-5 is the first Hammond I've had since I sold the X5 years ago, which was 14, 15 years ago. So I've used various keyboards that have Hammond organ sounds. Really wanted an authentic Hammond organ. So luckily I got involved with Hammond Europe, and here it is, the XK-5. It's a magical thing. Well, I played with them for 4 years. I played on their first 2 albums. But the way that I got in touch with those musicians, it was actually the bass player, Lindsay Coulson. I did a show with him when I was around 17 years old in Edinburgh at a blues festival there, in another band. And we were backing a great blues guitarist from the States called Philip Walker. So I did this gig with Lindsay back then. Didn't see Lindsay for, maybe 10 years, and he got in touch online and said, do you fancy joining this band I've got with this singer called Alan Nimmo? And 4 years touring with those guys. It was great.
Wow. You also told me that you're not only playing Hammond, but you're also doing a lot of vocals. We're going to get into what you're currently doing, but is it possible to let us hear a little bit of you playing on the XK-5?
Yeah.
Singing?
Yeah.
All right.
Georgia, Georgia, a song for you comes as sweet and clear as the moonlight through the pines. Oh, Georgia, oh, Georgia. No peace I find, no peace I find. Just that old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind, on my mind. Other arms reach out for me, other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads me back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, and just that old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Wow, man, I would clap, but then I would drop this phone, so I won't do that. Wonderful. So, can you tell us a little bit about your rig, your Hammond rig, how you are using it, and are you using an external Leslie or?
I'm not using an external Leslie at present. It's something I want to do in the future, but right now I'm using the onboard Leslie simulator, which is great. I love it. So yeah.
And the pedals that you are using?
Pedals, yeah, I use the expression pedal, which is cool because obviously you can do the swell, really gritty, and then it has the little switch to switch the Leslie from slow to fast. So if you want to play with two hands, you're not constantly going for the Leslie switch to go from slow to fast. So I use that. Obviously, you can use the XK-5 in the same way that you would use a B3 or C3. Using the presets as well. It's got the 4 sets of drawbars plus the separate drawbars for the bass sound, which you can assign to the lower keyboard. So you can use it in that way. With the set that I play with Lawrence Jones, which is of course my main gig, I do a lot of changing sounds. I use an external keyboard as well, which people may not know this, but you can use the lower manual of the XK-5 to send a MIDI signal to an external keyboard. So
there are more XK-5 users actually doing that, but it's so wonderful cool that you figured it out. It's really cool, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, you can have Rhodes or piano sound on the bottom, and then play Hammond at the top.
So that's why you had the sustain pedal there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if I need to, just show you. So you know.
Yeah.
You can do all that, which is really handy because you know I'm having to do a lot of backing vocals as well. So I have a mic here, a mic
You
there.
told me a little bit about the vocals. You're doing that all by yourself. You're actually the only one doing the backing vocals with this tour.
Absolutely.
But you have a sort of like figured out a solution.
It's a certain harmony pedal that I use. So it has a clever algorithm, and when you play a chord through it, it recognizes what triad it is. It doesn't work with extensions. But yeah, so that's without a pedal. Pedal on. Which adds a real richness and fullness. So the album that we recorded with Lawrence in Miami, an album called The Truth, which is out now. Look for it online. I spent a day in the studio layering a lot of backing vocals, and with me being the only backing vocalist in the band, we wanted to recreate that as much as we could. So that pedal helps a little bit to do that. You know? We've got a lot of gigs. So we're in the Netherlands for a week, in Utrecht tonight. I think our last show is at the Milkweg in Amsterdam in a few days' time. We then head back to the UK, and we've got a great UK headline tour coming up, 6 or 7 dates, and that's in association with a radio station called Planet Rock. So we do that. Also in May, we're heading over to Spain. We do quite a few shows over there. We've got a festival there. Back to the Netherlands and Belgium for a couple of festivals as well in May. Basically festivals all over the place. We will be performing at the Krollo, almost said that right, Blues Festival, and also the North Sea Jazz Festival.
Wow, that has been confirmed. That's quite a prestigious gig.
Exactly.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Where can people find you online?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Bennett Holland, and this is the Twitter address right here, and also Facebook. I don't have a website as such as yet, but obviously on the social media, and I post regularly, so you'll be able to see the gigs there. Also for the shows that I do with Lawrence Jones, that's all on his website. So Google Lawrence Jones, it'll come straight up at the top of the search, and everything's on there.
Thank you.